Hey, welcome to ACTRA Spotlight, the ACTRA Toronto podcast. This is our inaugural podcast. I am Jean Yoon.
And I am David Gale.
And we're your co-hosts for today.
That's true, we are. We're so excited to be here in this very first podcast for ACTRA Toronto.
And because it's the first podcast, we thought we would introduce ourselves a little bit. So I'm Jean Yoon. I've been an ACTRA member for a little over 20 years. I work in theater, I work in film and television, and right now I'm best known for playing Mrs. Kim on A Kim's Convenience. And it's on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on CBC, and we're really proud of our show. It's going to third season airing right now.
I thought I recognized you.
I know. Yeah, I recognize you too.
Ah, that's right. Well, I'm David Gale, and I have been an ACTRA member since the 1840s, actually.
That's a long time.
Yeah, even before ACTRA was started, I was an ACTRA member. And I've been an ACTRA member since about 1981, believe it or not. You can see the gray in my beard.
Wow.
And I've done many things. I've worked as an actor on stage and on screen and on television, and probably best known for a little show called Loving Spoonfuls, where I cooked with different grandmothers in their home. And we danced and we sang and we kibitzed, and we learned all about these ladies. And it's seen right now on Prime TV.
I remember that show. I watched it. And you tried to get my mom.
We wanted your mom so much for
but
our show.
she's
We were there.
I know. But I warned you. She's really flaky. She
Yeah.
got so nervous. I don't know. I can't do it. My kitchen's so messy. And she worked herself into a tizzy.
She cleaned herself sick.
She did. She cleaned herself sick.
Right.
So in this podcast, what we're hoping to do is to get some of the news that's of things that are happening here at ACTRA out in a way where you can listen to it while you're working out, while you're driving to an audition, or on a streetcar, and in a nice, easy, casual way, but also to share directly some of the voices of the artists and other ACTRA members that are working in the community.
Yeah, because we're an artist-run, an actor-run organization. We steer it. We are a board of 24 ACTRA members who are elected by the membership. And we have a fantastic staff, dozens and dozens of people who are actually paid to do the heavy lifting, but we do the steering.
We do, yeah. We do, and I'm fortunate that there are so many people who know so much more than I do about what it needs, what an organization needs to protect and advance the rights of artists like us.
Yeah, because we care about you and we want the best for you on and off sets. You can even listen to this podcast on a set if you are so lucky to be on one.
You could. And so today on our first podcast we have
Jayne Eastwood, our Award of Excellence recipient for 2019. A legend of the Canadian television and film world.
Comedy goddess. And
icon.
She's delightful.
She's
It was so much fun.
Yes, I love being around her. I call her my girlfriend and she calls me her boyfriend.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that, and here we go.
Well, we are here with ACTRA Toronto's 2019 Award of Excellence recipient, Ms. Jayne Eastwood.
Oh,
Canadian
you.
giant.
Oh, my
Yes.
Lord, you
Comedy.
guys, you're crazy.
Icon. What do you prefer? Icon, giant,
Or just a working actress.
a working
Just
actress.
a working actress,
And-
which is what I am. You
Not
know?
actor, actress.
I'm okay with saying actor.
Yeah.
I don't really care one way or another. It's not like those type of things have never been an issue for me.
Actor or
I
actress.
don't think about it.
No.
I just have a drink.
I always
and
just go with
carry on,
actor because we do the same thing, whether we're male or female or
True.
trans or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
And then
sometimes
you
I just
count,
say
like,
I'm an actor.
Otherwise,
yeah.
you have to go 10 actors and 12 actresses, and
Right.
I just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't,
So we're all actors.
We don't say doctress.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Or denturist.
Or dentist. which-
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited because
Thank
this is
you.
our first podcast.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be a part of it. This is extraordinary.
And you've been a first in so much that's happened in Canadian film and
Oh,
television.
my
So
Lord.
it's a huge honor. It's a huge honor.
Well, I've
just
been
to
very
be here.
lucky.
Yeah.
I think when we say first, I think it's because I did Going Down the Road, which I consider outside of Rowdy Man, which was awesome too, but it was really one of the first Canadian films that really kind of hit the market and just Canada was so proud of, and people in New York were watching it, and they loved it a lot, you know. So I was just really lucky to be a part of that. I got paid $600 for it.
$600
For the whole movie.
For the whole movie. And it took 6 months to shoot it.
Wait, was it ACTRA?
Oh, Lord, no.
Oh.
Are you kidding? I wasn't even a member yet. I was still pretty young. I was just getting into the business.
What year was that?
1970?
Yeah, 69, 70. And I was part of a workshop that Eli Rill, you probably know Eli Rill because of Cale Chernin, right?
Right.
Amazing acting teacher who came up from New York and opened his own studio. And he was from the studio in New York. And he just kind of really opened up that just, I don't want to say method acting, but just, not hanging signs out, just being really real and being in the moment.
Yeah.
So Doug McGrath and Paul Bradley and myself auditioned for this Going Down the Road. I feel like the auditions were on a sidewalk somewhere. It's just weirdly enough. And, of course, we all got it because he was very much a documentary filmmaker and he wanted to have that sort of real thing. Yeah. Because Toronto was different then. It was, I'd say most of the attention was at, like, Shaw and Stratford and the Crest Theatre, So,
Actors.
Yeah, actors. So I was part of that first movement of, I think, actors who were really going for the real gritty kind of reality.
Had Don Shabib directed any other films at that point?
Only documentary films. Mm-hmm. But what he got was one of the greatest documentary cinematographers of all time. I forgot his name. Richard Leiterman. Mm-hmm. Richard Leiterman. Mm-hmm. Who Norman Mailer has a chapter in his book about Richard Leiterman.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just Mr. Handheld following us around, Which is probably the way a lot of kids are making movies now.
Right. They are.
Which I think is fabulous.
They're making it with their iPhones.
Yeah.
Or with their, and the difference is their sound.
Yes.
Because for much of Going Down the Road, it's almost like a silent movie with a soundtrack.
Well, I mean, we did have a sound man, James MacArthur.
Yeah.
We totally
Even
had
when
a
you
sound.
were in the cars and.
Yeah. Yes, we did have. Yeah, we had a sound guy, but just one guy.
Just one guy.
One guy, one camera, and us.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really
it just shows
style.
that it can be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is awesome.
And it's kind of a love letter to like 1969 Toronto.
Oh my God! And that's so dear to my heart, I must say.
It was so different back then.
Toronto was Toronto. To me, was just one of the greatest cities of all time in the 70s. Yeah. I loved it so much. And now I'm living in Hamilton part-time, and it's got that vibe that Toronto had in the 70s. It's exploding, and it's like a lot of cool people are just like doing great things there. So that's really fun, too.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with show business at all. Sorry, I veer off.
No, that's okay. Actually, there's a lot that's shot in Hamilton, so it does have to do with
that's true.
ACTRA Toronto, for sure. So when did you become ACTRA? Like, do you remember the gig that was your first?
It was
ACTRA
probably
gig?
very shortly after Going Down the Road came out. Yes, I do remember that.
It must have been a lot smaller.
Being a member of ACTRA,
Yes.
I felt pretty groovy.
Do you remember the gig?
It was a CBC show, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because CBC, they came knocking after Going Down the Road.
Right.
So, yeah, I remember being very proud of. I'm actually not saying this. I remember a bit. Okay, I'm an ACTRA member now.
Very special.
It is for a young actor.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's because now I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you're an ACTRA member, you can expect and demand basic rights. Like you don't have
like
you
the
need
minimum rate.
The minimum rate and breaks.
Which is what they're going to pay you.
Substantial snacks.
Substantial snacks.
I need those substantial snacks. I don't know about you, but if I don't get them, my blood sugar drops and I'm like suddenly on the floor.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
And I need a nap. You know.
Me too.
I need a nap.
Is there a lot of napping on set for you guys?
Oh God, yeah. For me.
For me, when I'm doing Kim's, I basically I'm the mom. I'm a Mrs. Kim.
Well, I'm sorry to say this, but you look so much younger in real life, and you're brilliant.
Oh,
you
thank
are
you.
brilliant.
I have a lot of
oh
fun.
my God,
So
I should have known that. I don't get out much, but I adore that show. We're screaming it now at our house.
But anyway, we're fellow nappers because it's gotten to the point where because usually when I'm shooting, I'm doing I'm shooting all day. Like there'll be 5 scenes. I'm shooting all 5 scenes, and if I don't, right after lunch, I need a 20-minute nap. And finally, and sometimes production would in the first season or so, they would put script read-throughs over lunch, and on those days
That's done a lot.
and
Yes.
on those days I would be weeping mess by the middle of the afternoon.
It might be something we might want to address,
Oh, no,
Mr.
they have
Gale.
to pay you extra for that.
Oh, they do
For
pay
sure.
you
I don't
extra.
want
Sure.
the money.
No,
I don't
I
need
want
I
the
want
nap.
the nap.
Yes,
Yeah. So they've worked it all out now. It's because when I was younger, I could manage without the nap, but not now because I'm in my late 50s. So
Man, you don't look it. But I remember when I was shooting Haven out in Nova Scotia, there was read-throughs at lunch, but I was always glad because it meant I was in the next episode.
You're very practical.
Oh, yes, I'm available for a
Very
read-through.
practical.
Yeah.
Did you find that coming up in your career, there was a pull to go non-union for shows? Did you?
Never for me. That was never a consideration. And I think that's happened more recently than it did when I was actually working. You know what I mean? I think nobody even considered doing non-union then.
Right.
yeah.
Once they were in, they were in.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Now you're part of the original member of Second City here, is
Yeah.
that right?
Yes, I am.
And who were the people who were with you in Second
Well,
City?
Joe Flaherty, who's my brother-in-law, brought it up from Chicago with Bernie Solins, the owner, and Brian Doyle Murray, who's Billy Murray's older brother.
Yeah.
And they were in the Chicago company, and they came up, and all of us from Godspell, we just finished Godspell,
Right.
auditioned for Second City. and I mean, I was just bouncing around town. Like somebody said, oh, go here, and I went there. I just really wasn't thinking much. The audition, you had to go through a revolving door on stage 5 times, and every time you came out, you had to come out with another character.
Oh, my
and
God.
I'm shocked that they hired me, quite frankly, because I'm actually not that kind of comedian or an actor. I'm a bit slower, you know?
You like to work on your characters
Yes,
a
I
little
like
bit?
to work on my characters. So I was actually shocked that I got it. It was not my happy place. Not that it's not a great place, the show. Not that it's not a great place, but improvising was tough for me. As I said, I'm a bit slow. I got to think about stuff. Whereas I was working with people who are just wham, wham, wham.
Who were you working
well,
with?
Gilda Radner, who was just a survivalist on stage.
Wow.
Like she just had it figured out what she was going to
Yeah.
do, and she really shone. Joe Flaherty, who is the best improviser in North America, in my opinion. Amazing.
Wow.
And Brian was extraordinary. Danny Aykroyd.
Oh,
Give me
my
a
God.
break. And his partner, Valerie Bromfield, who used to just like rhyme on stage. And Jerry Salzberg, who was suffering the way I was. And myself. And that was the original cast. And then Eugene Levy came in and replaced Jerry. And then we got closed down because we didn't have a liquor license. So it wasn't going.
And this is
It wasn't going
Toronto.
that way.
No
It was Toronto.
liquor license, forget it.
Right. So they closed down. They closed the doors. I was relieved.
Yeah.
I was relieved. I went on to the Tarragon. But then Andrew Alexander bought the rights from Bernie Solins and opened it
Right.
on
at the fire hall?
at the Fire Hall. And that's when it became really famous. It was like Stephen Colbert had Marty Short on his show, and he said he was in Second City in Chicago at the time. And he said, yeah, all the cool kids are in Toronto. I mean, it was revered.
Yeah, and people would just drop by and
dear God.
improvise. Like I was there
Robin
once where
Williams?
Robin Williams would just dropped by, and he and Marty Short just took the stage.
Unbelievable.
And it was like, what is this
What
happening?
what has happened?
This is tremendous.
I remember going down. Of course, we were still very close because Joe was my brother-in-law. I was married to David Flaherty, who ended up writing for SCTV, and he was a great writer too. I remember standing on tables, screaming and laughing. So the whole audience was getting up on their table and screaming. I mean, those were I'd say, the great days of Second City.
Now, you have a funny, he's passed, but you have a funny husband. Did you stand on tables and laugh at home?
Well, funnily enough, we fought like the Bickersons, just like so much like when David would say, "Wow, we really blew our tops, didn't we?" And then I was laughing. You know what I mean? He was that guy. He was just
He could diffuse the situation.
Yes, he could. He could fire it up too. But he could diffuse the situation. David was a very, very funny guy.
Did you have like funny offs? Did you have like competitive?
Not really, no, because as I said, I'm a bit slow. I'm not really that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like sometimes I'm funny, but it's not always a thing. Although I consider myself a comedian now, for sure.
You're funny, but there's different ways that people approach it. Like there are improv artists who can switch gears so quickly.
Oh my
And
God.
I cannot believe it.
Like Colin Mockery.
Yeah, Colin
Genius,
Mockery, same
genius.
thing.
And his wife.
Oh,
Deb McGrath's
Deb is
wife.
amazing.
Yeah, they're all of those improv artists. It's a whole other skill. Whereas,
It really is another skill.
It really is.
It's totally different than acting.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have an improv background myself. And for instance, I see someone like Andrew Fung on our show, and he can just
fast.
this incredible speed. And I'm much more into getting into a character and then finding that pushing that character to the point of ridiculousness, where it's true,
which is
but
brilliant.
It's its own thing. It's a different muscle.
process. It's a different process. It's a different muscle, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have a lot of improv in my background, but this is not about me. So, Jayne.
It can be about you too.
No.
But improv. But let me just say one thing about improv.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eli Rill, those great acting teacher I was telling you about, we did nothing but improv in his class, but nobody was looking for a laugh. But then the laughs would come. Like Paul Bradley would have us lying on the floor howling just because it was the truth. Like all comedy has to come from truth. So that kind of improv I love. And also I did improv on Train 48 with Lisa Merchant. And that's really fun because you have a set character and you're giving 3 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's a beautiful way to work.
I love that
It's a
show.
stunning way. That was a fun show to do.
It was a fun show to watch. I was nursing my son at the time. It would be like
so
4
great.
o'clock. It's I'd clap him onto my. Yeah.
I was nursing my son at the time, too, so I remember it being very funny.
Yeah.
Well, the most important thing in acting is honesty. 100%. If you can fake that, you've got it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they say. So Train 48, to talk about, how long did you do that? How long did you improvise
I think I was
that?
just given a part on it the last year. It might have gone for 3 or 4 years. I'm not too sure.
It went at least 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you see, I tend to be a series killer.
Oh, come on.
Oh, for goodness sake.
No, but I get these shows like King of Kensington. That originally was supposed to be my part, but Fiona Reed and I were doing a review, and Perry Roseman brought Al Waxman down to see me in this review, and he said, I like Fiona better. So Fiona got the part, and in those days, there was so much work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, fine, have a great time. And then they offered it to me the 5th year.
Right.
And I had already chucked. Then it went down. And there's like quite a few series that I've had. I get in the last year, and then it goes down.
I played a basketball player in one of the last episodes, so it might have been me who actually killed it.
It was probably you, yes.
It was right, like the first gig of my first television gig, I think.
Because it was a community center.
Community center, and I played a basketball player in this community center with, and Peter Beretsky's son was also one of them, Paul Beretsky.
Right.
And
Well, I must have been there
Jennifer
with you.
Phipps, you must have been there.
Yeah.
That's when we first met. That's when we first met.
We were having a good time. I mean, how can you not have a good time in a series, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You're not like
exactly.
the happiest actor in the world right now?
Pretty darn happy, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great series. Everybody loves it. You guys are amazing. It's your family.
And
You know what I mean?
I get to work with Paul Sun Young Lee and Andrew
God.
Bang and
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
The
fantastic.
chemistry, but in the family, on Kim's Convenience, is really what makes the show. The chemistry in the
It's
family.
because all of us are because we have a shared. Our families are so similar. There's a common. We really do have
like a shorthand.
That's great.
a shorthand. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Did you ever get to be on Wayne and Schuster?
I did a couple of Wayne and Schusters, yes,
What
with
was that
Carol.
like?
I remember Carol Robinson and I were doing one. I don't know if you remember her. Wonderful. They were wonderful. Johnny was really like the showbiz guy. You know what I mean? He was kind of very vaudeville. And Frank Schuster was just a beautiful gentleman.
Yeah.
Very, very gentle, sweet, lovely man who loved to chat. And yeah, that was an honor being on that. That's a long time ago.
So I think we have another credit in common, Bizarre.
Yes.
Yes, I did a Bizarre too. I was a cute young boy. I didn't have
You
a
were
gray
just-
beard.
You were just a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, I was like
'Cause I was
21.
Yeah, I
I
think
did
I was
about
just
maybe
in my
thr-
30s when I was on Bizarre.
Yeah.
And that was fun, too. And John Biner was just a genius of comedy. Strange show to be on, though. They had, like, the comedians, and then they had the beautiful girls. And they would film the beautiful girls separately.
For
And then
paid TV.
Yeah, it was for paid TV. And then there was, kind of like the local comedy group doing sketches with John Byner.
What were they?
And
It was still
Bob,
fun.
Bob
And
Einstein.
Bob
was-
Einstein, yeah.
Who just passed away as well.
Who just passed. I did enjoy Bob. He was
Super Dave.
Yeah, Super Dave. He was a funny guy, and huge ego, but who doesn't have a big ego? Well, I don't.
Well, you should.
I should.
You know, what did we figure? Something like 270 IMDb credits.
That's a lot, eh?
Yeah.
A lot.
A
It's a
lot.
lot. We
That's
were
a
wondering,
lot.
like, if you could if it would even be possible to choose a favorite or one.
Sure, this is Wonderland.
This is Wonderland.
This is Wonderland. Was my favorite show to do.
Why? Why was it your favorite?
Because of the
Writing.
writing. George Walker was he's I don't know what he's doing now. I wish he'd write another show.
He is writing shows. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he's writing shows. Yeah.
What's he
Well, I'm
working
sure
on
he's
now?
forgotten all about me. But I've
This'll
never
remind
been
him.
happier. I've never
This
been
will
happier in my
remind him.
life.
Oh, yeah?
Ever.
That was a great show,
Yeah.
and you
the-
were great in it.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. I mean, I wish I'd been better. It was just because the material was so great.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was so funny, I'd be cracking up at the other actor instead of worrying about what I was doing. But I remember day players would come on, This is Wonderland, and they would save that for their reel because that's how great the day player parts are. And I can't think of any other show that's like that. That is just so rich for every actor. I've never experienced writing like that in my life.
No, his writing is extraordinary. And the other thing I really liked about that show is he seemed to have hired a lot of actor playwrights. I think it was his way of like spreading things around. It was like if you were an actor playwright, he would just hire you. He hired me.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was like that. I was only there every. And honestly, the series didn't need my character. There was not enough for
What
my
was your
character.
character? I
I was
should
a
know.
social worker who would occasionally
Oh,
turn up in
certainly.
mental health court
Oh, of
with
course,
with
yeah.
Eric Peterson. But really, I mean, he had 2 or 3 other characters who could have serviced the plot in the same way. But I think he just brought me on to subsidize.
You probably had
What?
added a richness to it, though. You know what I mean? Because his eye for detail, I think, was just brilliant. Yeah.
You got to work with Michael Riley.
Oh, I adored him.
Yeah.
He was my son.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been very lucky, I must say. I get. I've been on a lot of American productions, and it's been great. I'm really glad that ACTRA has, done this for us, brought the American things in because it really kept me alive for quite a long time. But when I get on a Canadian series, nobody's happier about it than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're telling
I'm
a
just
real.
so
You're telling
happy.
a story that you could actually directly connect to, and
Yeah.
it makes such a huge difference because we don't become actors to be famous. We
Not at
became actors to tell stories.
Exactly.
yeah.
Through our way of expressing ourselves.
Our stories.
And also, I'm very patriotic. You know what I mean? Like every time I think about Come From Away, I almost start bawling my eyes out. First of all, it's the most brilliant musical I've ever seen in my life.
twice.
So I'm going to go again. And it's all Canadian, right?
Yeah.
100%, right from the very
Yeah.
get-go.
Yeah.
It made the hairs
my-
on the back of my
Yeah,
neck
me
stand
too.
up. And I
too.
took my son, and he was just like desperate to see it again. And he's very cynical, because I've taken him to a lot of theater, and he's like, "That was good,"
Yeah.
But this was.
Oh.
I have tried to take my son, and he's just very resistant to musicals at this point.
But this
what
is
can I do? I
this
know.
is
I tried-
beyond a musical.
I
way
tried to
beyond a
tell
musical.
him, you're very patriotic, so does that mean you don't want to talk about working with Paul Newman?
Oh, no, I love Paul Newman. Oh, my God. I loved all the American stars that I've worked with. Bette Midler was a little bit tired and cranky, but very nice and polite. But she was just so focused on what she was doing, it was hard for her to talk to the other actors, unless, of course, they were famous American actors.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that element of being a Canadian on an American set, and we've all been there.
Invisible.
We all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But Paul Newman, I auditioned for this, and I remember my manager, Paul Gross, said, "Well, you're working with friggin' Paul Newman." And, it's just like everybody's dream. So they flew me into Montreal, and it was late at night, and he was in his trailer, and the AD said, "I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Newman." And he brought me in, and he was very gracious, and he said, "So, do you like the part?" He said, "Yeah, I think it's great." He said, "Okay, so could you do it for me now?" So thank God I had really learned my lines, because it was a bit of a monologue. And he put his arm around me and said, "That's great. That's just great. And he was so nice. He said, and you have to do all the talking. Couldn't have been sweeter. We just rode around in a go-kart all night long. He started telling me about his wife, Joanne, and I said, I complimented his directing on Rachel, because not a lot of people know that he was a great director. So we were just chatting like old buddies. Couldn't have been lovelier. And still really good looking. A tiny,
he was
perfect
good
man.
looking.
And he wasn't that short.
Tiny?
Yeah. Well, he's... Hey, most male movie stars are kind of on the short side,
right.
you know?
With a big head.
With a big head.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
he
the
fit
eyes?
that bill.
And the eyes?
Really like that blue that goes right through you. But a real gentleman, a really sweet, sweet man. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever get starstruck by any of the Canadian people that you worked with?
Well, I had dinner with Gordon Pinsent not too long ago, and I was very starstruck indeed. We'd met a few times, but I was just like, "Oh, Mr. Pinsent," you know. And he was telling me stories. I was at Sheila McCarthy's house. Yeah, I'm a bit starstruck by Gordon Pinsent. I can't really think of anybody else.
Because you've worked with everyone.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I really haven't. You'd be shocked at the people I don't know and haven't worked with.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a whole new amazing generation out there that I don't really know, sadly.
Well, this will get you cast.
Okay, good.
Do you have a favorite political ACTRA Toronto moment?
Yes, I do, and I believe you were involved. I was telling James B. about this today, as a matter of fact, when we all went to Ottawa to defend the musicians, to make sure that they, because of the internet, that they weren't getting cheated from their residuals. And I thought that was such a great thing for ACTRA to do, to look out for the musicians, also knowing that coming down the road that might happen to us as well. But so, wow, we went to Ottawa. It was amazing. And David Gale took care of me the entire time because I'm an idiot.
No.
I don't think I was even sure who the Prime Minister was at that time. I blew it with Justin Trudeau. But anyway.
We had a cocktail party and he
showed
showed
up. We had
up.
a cocktail party and he showed up and I started blathering on about his dad and he kind of, his head just sort of turned. He moved on to the next person.
And he had a Movember mustache, I believe.
Yes, he did. Yeah. It was an amazing thing. And we also went to Ottawa to defend PAL, didn't we? Did we go to Ottawa to do that?
I don't remember that. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe that was an ACTRA thing. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But
If
that was
it involved
incredible.
PAL, it was an ACTRA thing. But
Yeah. No, and it just made me think, thank God there's so many smart actors in ACTRA taking care of the rest of us. You guys are amazing. I really mean that.
Thank you.
You're just amazing.
Oh, they loved you there, though.
Did they?
They loved you.
Oh,
Come
God,
on.
I can
They
barely
were
keep up.
like, that's, Jayne Eastwood is here. Jayne Eastwood here.
But
and
that's-
signing autographs. And
It was just wonderful. So I'd love to go again, as long as I can have a nap.
You can have a nap on the train on the way up.
Make it happen, David.
I can make it happen. That's the power that I have here at ACTRA Toronto. Oh, so powerful.
But it is really true what Jane is saying about how there's so many really smart, dedicated actors who do this volunteer work for the union, for all of us, to ensure that our rights are protected and that that our union is responding not just to things that have happened, but to future challenges, especially now as we're entering into this period where so much of our work is distributed online.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting on ACTRA Toronto Council but I just feel like I'm just learning. I don't know. There's so much I don't know.
But you're there. That's wonderful.
I'm mostly listening, yeah.
Hey, listen, I've been on
wonderful.
council for 12 years and I'm still learning. Every time I come here, I'm learning.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Because everything is changing, as you say, and we have to be on top of everything. And there's so many files, there's so many issues that we're dealing with. We have to always be learning.
So we're and the fact that that ACTRA is there and there's so many people working on it in that way, then we get to do the fun stuff. We get to do the acting stuff. We get to make the funny stories and the moving tales, and it's just I feel so privileged to do the work that I do. And
so do I.
And
Thank
we're lucky that we have engaged performers who are stars of television series who come and get elected to our council. So that, the working actors who know what's happening on sets, what's happening in front of the camera.
That really impresses me. It really does. And because it takes a lot of energy, too.
It does. It does.
So I have a question for you, which we're, this is our first podcast, but I'm kind of hoping it becomes a thing. But, I don't know about you, but I have a basically like my bag that goes to set with me.
Oh, yeah.
And some odd things that go in it. But I'm just curious, like, what is one thing that goes into your kit when you go to set?
Pencils in a sketch because I'm an artist.
Oh,
and
wow.
So if I'm trapped in a room and I have a little photograph and I can work on a sketch, I'm fine for hours and hours and hours.
Amazing.
Yeah,
And
so I'm
she's
very lucky that way.
A wonderful artist as well.
Oh, thank you.
Who has had her works auctioned off at PAL fundraisers for years now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I said, I keep talking about James B. He's got 2 of my paintings. Jackie Richardson just bought one of my paintings from PAL. So that's what I mostly do because as an actor, I really feel like I should be doing charity work, but it's really hard to say to somebody, I'll be available Tuesday night. Because most of the time you aren't, or you just never know.
Yeah.
So that's my charity. Like, I just give people paintings to auction. It's
Well, that's
something. It's
fantastic.
something
Fantastic,
anyway.
yeah.
It's not much, but it's something.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I love having a commission. It's like, oh, they need this painting for PAL. Okay, let's get busy. And so it's great.
I want to know how you feel about being our Award of Excellence winner this year, the recipient of the Award of Excellence for ACTRA Toronto.
Well, I'm a reluctant recipient, as you know. I just...
It's hard to peg you down.
No, it's because it makes me... I'm not used to having a lot of attention. That's the truth. And it's an enormous amount of attention, but it's been delightful so far. You and I've done some photo shoots that are hysterical. David was the one who made me Queen Elizabeth on the cover of the ACTRA magazine.
Oh, I
with a
remember that. That
martini
was
and a
so
cigarette, which
fantastic. It was such a fantastic
it's
cover.
absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. So far it's been really fun, just because I feel like I'm getting involved with ACTRA again. And so I'm at your service if you need an old 72-year-old woman who can't remember anybody's name at all.
But who
There's
can
gotta be a
remember their
place for
lines.
me. I
You
can
can
remember. It's the only thing I can remember. That'll be in my acceptance speech. No, I am so grateful. And honestly, I do not deserve this. I've just been...
Oh, I beg to differ.
Just working on some stuff. I just...
Working on...
I'm flummoxed. I'm flabbergasted.
Are you ready to dance that night? Because there's going to be dancing.
If David will dance with me, that'd be great.
David?
Yeah.
David?
I'm not much...
David?
I
Dancing?
think a yes and a yes.
Yay!
Dancing as we speak.
And that's another thing that I think is amazing is the party that ACTRA throws for all of us every year in February when everybody just wants to kill themselves. You know what I mean?
It's
a
so
great
nice.
party.
It is.
And I'll
Dress
keep my
up.
speech short so people can just get drinking and dancing. You know what I mean? No long speeches.
No long speeches.
Al Waxman did an acceptance speech. It's just, oh, dear God, Al. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Trust me, mine's going to be 5 minutes.
And now he's giving it in heaven.
He's giving it in heaven. He is a brilliant actor. I saw
Yeah.
him do Death of a Salesman
Yes.
at Stratford, and I said, but this is funny. I went backstage. I said, Al, you are an amazing actor. You are the best thing in. He said, oh, I know. I know. I'm the only one who's real on stage.
Hey, you're a pretty amazing actor yourself. I saw you do Night Mother.
Oh, I'm glad you saw me do Night Mother.
Very, very intense character. It was
Yeah.
powerful, punch you in the gut type of
What
story.
theater was that at?
It was at
Tarragon.
No, it was at the, well...
Well, I saw it at Tarragon.
Yes, it was at the Fringe at the Tarragon, and then we moved it to the Portland Theater. It might be the Portland Theater. It was on Portland, but unfortunately, as soon as I opened that play, 9/11 happened.
Right.
Nobody came out. People would just stayed home. So I played to 8 people a night for a month. Doing that role. With just like the sobbing and the, oh my goodness.
The mother of a woman who is determined to
Commit
take her
suicide.
own life.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read the play. I remember.
It's a good
I remember.
play.
I remember seeing it coming up, but I didn't see it. I remember I was incredibly busy at that time. But
It is a good
It was one
play.
of those things that was on my list. I was like, I can't see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
but it
I'm
is
sorry.
nice to be able to do that kind of thing sometimes. But comedy is my life, I must say. I'm with Women Fully Clothed right now, who are just the most brilliant comedic writers and actors that I've ever had the privilege to work with. Like, they're amazing. And, you know, as I said, I'm 72. We just wrote our third show, and we're getting bookings again, which is amazing. And a couple of times I've said, I don't know, guys, I'm getting a little bit old. And Kathy Green would say, just shut up. Shut up. Get in the van. We'll push you out in a wheelchair if we have to.
Perfect.
Isn't that nice?
That is
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. It's not bare naked ladies. It's women
We're fully
clothed.
clothed,
Okay. I was
exactly.
a little confused there with the title. What's going on there? Very funny. Very funny. What a treat to have you with us. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
it's a
you
treat to be
so
here.
much.
And
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't recognize you from
Oh
Kim's
no,
Convenience.
I'm glad.
You look very different.
You do look very different.
Your hair
She's beautiful.
is always puffed up, and you don't have the
Well, I
same
wear a
kind of-
wig in the show.
There you go.
That's the big thing. Is I
that's the
have a
key.
wig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay!
I have a wig now.
Oh, David, I love you. This was great. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Yay!
Yay!
Wow. Oh, my God.
She's amazing.
Oh, speaking to Jayne Eastwood, I mean, Paul Newman's eyes, come on.
I know. I've never met her. I've only ever seen her on screen. It was like, you know, what is it? I mean, I'm short, right? Like and I look short on TV, but I look really short on TV because I am really short. But it's funny because when I met Jayne, I've always thought she looked taller on TV. It's funny.
Because she's a big presence on TV. And people always think I'm much taller because I'm always standing beside a grandmother. So they think that I'm a giant. And they meet me in real life and go, hey, you're not really that tall. I said, well, I'm always standing beside a grandmother.
Oh, it's just
She was phenomenal. She is a pro, and she really knows how to give an interview to be interviewed for
She
sure.
does. She does.
So we've done it. We've done our first podcast.
Our first podcast. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
You can follow us online at ACTRA Toronto on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And do check into ACTRATorontoPerformers.com for more information.
And you can rate us on iTunes.
Please rate us on iTunes because we're just starting.
Yes. And if you're lucky enough to listen to this before the conferences, they are the 20th to the 22nd, and the awards are February 23rd at the Carlou.
I haven't got my dress yet.
Neither have I.
We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Dance with you later.
Bye.